Hello guys, welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. There is a message that I want to share with you guys, and this message, it comes from a translation of a message that I received. The message reads like this. Hello my brother, how are you? I am a 19-year-old girl and currently I am staying with my mom. As for my dad, he is residing in America and we don't even remember his face physically. We can only see him when he sent us some pictures, but ever since he went to America, our dad has never even bothered to return back home to Zim. We only hear that there in America he has another family. When he arrived there in America, he then got married to a white woman. I have a confession, my brother. Maybe it was because of bitterness that made me to do all of this. So when my father got the opportunity to migrate to go to America, what we had is that my father really loved our mother and he loved us so much. This is what he told me since I am his firstborn. He said that the reason why he does not want to come back to Zim, it is because of the things that my mother did to him. He found out that before he had left, my mother was trying to feed him with some love potions. My father said when they were still young, his mother, our grandmother, used to feed our father and his siblings some porridge, and inside that porridge there was some herbs so that when they were all grown up, people could not bewitch them. So when our mother tried to give some love potions to our father, then he started to vomit and he was very sick that he nearly died. Then the thing that happened is that when my mother was told to confess, then my father was still sick, meaning that she had another hidden secret and she was supposed to expose herself, otherwise my father was going to die. That is when my mother came out into the open and she exposed herself and she said that she had been cheating on our father. When she fell pregnant with my younger sister, who is the second born in our family, she had been impregnated by her other boyfriend who was a former schoolmate. So when the days approached, when my father was supposed to travel to America, my mom and my dad had almost broken up. They had just separated. They were on separation, but my father had promised my mother that by the time that he will be in America, they were going to sort out everything so that he can help my mom with the papers for her to go and join our dad there in America. And we were supposed to be reunited there in America. But once our father had left Zim and when he was in America, that is when he chose to marry another white woman, and he is another family there in America, and there is no contact whatsoever with the children that my dad had there in America with us. We do not even know each other. Our father has sent us some pictures, but we have never spoken with our dad's children that are there in America. So when our father chose to abandon us because of our mother's sin, my brother, we suffered so much. Even today, we are still suffering. When you look at us, you will never think that our father is there in America, because the only thing that he can do is maybe once in a blue moon, he can just speak with you on WhatsApp and you will just go quiet on you. So I grew up in an environment whereby my mom, just to make sure that we eat something before we go to bed, my mom had to date a lot of men. My mom dated a lot of, and she used to come with those guys back to the place where we were staying. So in our house, there was no such thing as a father figure. Anyone could do whatever they saw fit to do. Few years ago, that was when my mom started to date this other boyfriend of hers. But this guy, my brother, he is the same age as I am. So it was quite difficult for me to say daddy to him when me and my my mother's boyfriend, we are almost the same age group, and whenever my mom was not around, it was as if I was the one who was dating him, but I didn't have any feelings for him. So this guy, he was a gold buyer. What he would do is that he would go to the mines, then he will buy some gold and he will resell the gold. So he always had a lot of money on him. Sometimes when he will be at home, he will say, go and buy such a thing at the tuck shop. Then if he will tell you to go and take some money in his car, even if you were to steal money from his car, you would never notice, because he always had money on him. When my birthday came, I really wanted a good present for my boyfriend, but he was unemployed. So I spoke with my mother's boyfriend on WhatsApp and I asked him, Daddy, what are you going to buy for me? Then he said, don't you want me to take you out? I said, so are we going out as a family? Then he said, no, I just want us to go out, the two of us. So I agreed, my brother. The rest of the day, me and my mother's boyfriend, we spent the whole day. We were at the Eastgate Mall. We were just chilling, just walking around, and I really had a wonderful time. When the evening came, he gave me some money and he dropped me off just close to the place where I was staying, and he said, I don't want your mom to see us together. He then asked me why I was still using such an old phone, and I said, where do you expect me to get the money from? And he said, I will buy you another phone, but please make sure that you never tell your mom that I am the one who has bought you this phone. So I agreed. Within a couple of days, one day he came and he was just holding a small plastic bag, those ones that they give you after you have bought a phone, and he called me to go outside. So I went outside. My mom didn't even suspect anything, and I got into his car. After I had gotten into his car, he drove a little bit so that we can park at a distance far away, just a little bit far from the house where we were staying. Then he handed me the phone. Then he said he wanted to date me. When he told me that he wanted to date me, my brother, I didn't know how to respond to him. So I just said yes, because on the dashboard I saw bunches of US dollar notes. So he said that if I was going to date him in secret without letting my mom know that I was dating him, he was going to give me a lot of money and to buy me the most expensive clothes. So I was really excited, my brother. That is how I started to date my mom's boyfriend. We dated for a very long time until I told my friend that I was dating my mom's boyfriend. Then she said that I had to make a plan so that my mom will never find out that I am dating a boyfriend. And at that time, in my heart, I was now feeling that I was falling in love with my mother's boyfriend, because each and every time that we slept together, I kept on feeling him even more. And I didn't want my mom to find out, because it was going to break her heart. But at the same time, I didn't want this relationship to end, for it felt so good. So my friend then told me that she had this other relative of hers who was staying in Mvuma. If I was willing, then we could plan a journey so that we can go there. I was going to be given some herbs so that by the time that my mom will find out that I am dating her boyfriend, she will never shout at me and she will never think of chasing me away. So we planned. Then I lied to my mom's boyfriend and I told her that I wanted to visit this other friend of mine who was in Mvuma. He gave me some money after he had asked me to go with him, and I said no, because I was afraid that if he finds out that place where I was going to be given some herbs, and I wanted to do some rituals for him and for my mom. So I just lied to him. He gave me the money. Then we got onto the bus. Whilst we were on the bus, even the bus driver, my brother, proposed love to me. I dated that bus driver until he changed the route. He was no longer traveling between Harare and Masvingo. He was on another route. That is when I stopped That is when I stopped dating that bus driver that I met whilst I was on the journey going to Mvuma. So, my brother, once we had arrived at the place where my friend's relative was staying, we slept for the first night. Then on the following night, that is when I was told that I had to enter into another room. This man that we had visited, he was a spiritual. This man that we had visited, he was a spiritualist, but not those spiritualists that can just tell you what you want. He was one of those spiritualists that throw the bones onto the floor, then they will tell you what the spirit is saying. After he had thrown the bones onto the floor, he then told me that I had to perform a charm and I had to cast a spell so that my mom, if she was ever going to find out that I am dating her boyfriend, then she will never be angry at me. Brother Nashi, in this world that we are living, there are different types of spirit which are living amongst us that sometimes you won't believe it in your eyes. I was shocked, my brother, after that man had thrown the bones onto the floor, and I saw a spirit that came out of the bones. This spirit that came out of the bones, it didn't have a body. It was almost like smoke. It just came out of the bones, then looked at me, and it disappeared. Brother Nashi, I was then taken to this other river. It was a dry river, and that river, it was in a place where people could hardly see you, because as we were walking towards that river, we never came across anyone. Then that spiritualist told me that I was supposed to take off my shoes. I did so. Then he took grains of rice which we had bought. Then he knelt down and started to perform some rituals, and he told me that I had to pull up my dress, for I was wearing a dress, and told me that I was supposed to remove my skin tight and my underwear. After I had done so, he then instructed me to lie on the dry riverbed and told me to open my legs as if I was about to have sexual intercourse with a man. I did so, but I was really embarrassed. Then he took a sharp razor blade. Then he started to make some markings on the right thigh, then on the left thigh. Even now, I still have those markings on my right thigh and on my left thigh. Brother Nashi, after those rituals were done, I was then told to go back and wash myself, and I was not supposed to look back at that river bank. Days passed, my brother, whilst we were staying at my friend's relatives. We were just assisting with some of the household chores, because at the time when we went to visit my friend's relative who was a spiritualist, they had already started planting the maize. So in the morning we would go and we will help them with the planting of the maize. After those rituals were done, that is when me and my friend went back home in Harare. When we had arrived back home in Harare, me and my mother's boyfriend, we continued dating as if it was a normal relationship. What he would do is that when he would come to sleep over at our place, he would sleep with my mom. Then by the time when my mom will be fast asleep, I'll pretend as if I'll be watching the movie or doing anything. Then we will be texting each other, and he will tell me to go and wait for him in the toilet. And whilst I'll be in the toilet, that is when me and him, we will have sexual intercourse. Even now, this guy, he got married to another woman. I even went there with my mom to attend his wedding. But all the people that were there, they did not even know that my mom is the girlfriend to the man who was getting married. And on the other side, my mom does not even have a single clue that I am dating her boyfriend. Dear listeners, right there was a message that I received. It was sent to me by one of our listeners. Then I had to ask one of our admins to give us a translation. Strange things do happen.